Cool. Looks like we're recording.
All right.
All right. The interviewer is Christian Wright. Today is November 12th, 2020, and we're recording this interview via WebEx. And if you could please introduce yourself.
Sure. My name's Kim Oatman, and I'm the Assistant Vice President for Facilities and Operations here at Morehead State. And that covers all of the facilities management, the auxiliary services, and procurement functions here at the university. So that's what I do.
And Mr. Oatman, how long have you worked for the university?
January will be 3 years, so almost 3 years now.
And do you live in Morehead or somewhere else?
I live in Winchester.
And now we'll get into the COVID questions. When
Okay.
did you first hear about COVID? And when you heard about it, what did you think?
Okay. I remember starting to hear about it, but I think probably in January, February is when it first started swirling around that it was happening, but it wasn't here yet. Then the first case came, Washington State, maybe somewhere in there in January, February. And then it became clear, I guess, probably in late February, March, that it was going to affect us all. And probably sometime in March, we, as the head of facilities here, was called into a group by the president, the VPs, and several others across campus to start assessing how this was going to affect us and what we're going to have to do. So, in that January, February, March timeframe is when I really started hearing about it.
And I know the students everyone probably did too, abruptly heard that we were leaving campus last semester, once it looked like COVID was kind of a big deal. Were you involved in making that decision at all?
Well, yeah, I was on the team. On the team that made that decision. It wasn't anybody's unilateral decision. It was the team kind of got together and decided probably best to just shift to online because it was such an unknown at that point.
Mhm.
We know a lot more about it now, so we feel more comfortable, I think, continuing on doing what we're doing. So,
And how did the university moving to online instruction and all the students having to move out of the dorms affect you and your job?
well, it was a big impact because all of a sudden we had kind of a mass exodus of the residence halls first. Let me talk about that. And so we weren't really comfortable with going in there, and having sending our people into all these thousands of rooms and spaces that could have been infected. So, but we needed to do some work in there because there was people left abruptly, and there was trash, there's food, and we couldn't let it take hold and have mold and rodent type problems. So we did let it sit for. We actually suited a few people up in hazmat suits, walk through, make sure there was any visible like food waste and anything that needed to be taken care of. We did that immediately. Then we did that first, and then we just let it sit. And so we let it sit for, I can't remember, it was over a week. We were hearing things like week to 10 days, it doesn't survive, without um, being transmitted from people. So it would die out. So after a week or 10 days, I think we got in there really, then just began the process of a major clean, which is kind of a different protocol for cleaning from what we normally do. So we got involved. We actually got a contractor on board that had already kind of, at that point, I guess we were in sometime in March at this point, that already kind of learned, they got training on uh, how to clean for COVID. We brought a contractor on board. They started training our people too. Yeah, we just started this cleaning process. So that's kind of more on the housing side. On the academic side, there was, I think there was a lot of people shifted and went home, but not everybody. So there were some people working on campus. So we were we were going into spaces, cleaning, disinfecting where people were working. Wasn't as near of a problem of potential food waste and mold and that kind of issues, in the on the academic side as it was in housing. So wasn't as critical. But anyway, we did kind of go through every space or disinfecting. That took a while. Then we kind of got to the point, well, everybody's gone now. We got everything safed up, and so we started a process of and we also for our workforce we gave pretty pretty solid directive to everybody to work separately. Don't be working with people, around other people. Wear a mask. Go spread out on campus. We got the whole campus now. Let's spread out and let's keep working. But we did do for a period. I think it was in March, maybe into April, where we kind of staggered our shifts, and we had some people working from home. So we got into where we really, for a month and a half, we're about half of our workforce because we were saying work from home, this shift is working, come in and shifts and kind of work. Then we started ramping back up in May, June, kind of probably toward and I'll say our workforce that's working out on campus, our office people, as well as the other offices on campus, really scaled back and said work from home if you can work from home. We did that, and we still even today are doing some work from home if you can. We don't have that many people that can work from home. Most of our people have to be out, on campus. So the people were out on campus, the maintenance, the custodial, the grounds. We kind of reduced them down for a period, then ramped them back up, and just had work in separate spaces. So we were able to go into uh, April, May, June, July, August, and not all the way into August before we started having students come back. Um, do some really deep cleaning. We did some good. Oftentimes, our problem is we don't have access to the spaces because they're being occupied. You can't deep clean flooring and that kind of thing. We did a lot of that. We were able to get several buildings completely uh, floors deep clean, wax, touch up paint, a lot of stuff that we normally couldn't do with buildings being occupied. So through that period, we were able to get a lot of that done on the housing side and the academic side.
And in about March and through the summer, how was daily life like? Just kind of living with COVID.
Totally flipped us upside down. So we typically, are we're a services operation for the university. So we're serving students, we're serving faculty, we're serving staff. We're doing work orders, we're addressing mechanical problems where there's issues. We're addressing problems, things need to be cleaned up as a routine matter of operations. All of a sudden, not many people on campus anymore, so that changed. But we're doing all this kind of focus on cleaning and a focus on the maintenance side. Okay, I kind of shared with you kind of how we adjusted cleaning wise, but on a maintenance side, we started shifting and started thinking, okay, we got to start getting ready for when students come back. So we shifted toward going in and looking at all the HVAC units, cleaning them, making sure filters are changed, upgrading filters so that we have better protection against the COVID virus, the coronavirus. We also, in some of the buildings, and I'll just kind of address this very generally, it's kind of detailed in kind of a detailed response, but generally, just to explain it, in older HVAC systems, you got older units not designed for a big thick filter, so you can't push air through a filter that's a lot thicker than it's designed for, or it could burn the motor up, and have problems. So we hired an engineer to really kind of help us study this, and so we upgraded filters as much as we could, and where we couldn't, we installed some auxiliary or supplementary um, pieces of equipment that help kill the coronavirus. One is called bipolar ionization. It's a strip that basically uses ionization of the air particles to collect the air particles, and all the HVAC, all the air gets circulated through an air handler and through filters and comes to a central point. And so at that point, we install these big strips that ionize the air and grab um, coronavirus and a lot of other mold particles and everything out of the air. So we installed several of those in the worst case situations. So, from a mechanical maintenance side, those are some of the things that COVID changed us. I mean, we just started doing these things. And one good thing that came from it was these things that we installed in these larger filters help in other respects too, help cleanse the air, help reduce mold counts, that kind of thing. So that, I kind of told you from a cleaning standpoint, from a maintenance standpoint, from a construction and engineering kind of standpoint, we just kind of everything just kind of almost stopped. We didn't, we were doing projects related to HVAC and that kind of stuff really, but no other major projects. Everything kind of put on hold. From a ground standpoint, that's also under me. From a ground standpoint, we just kind of kept doing what we were doing. They're working outside anyway, so keep working outside. Stay separate. Auxiliaries is also under me, so that's food service, that's bookstore, Eagle Card Services, Eagle Trace, golf course, and so changes we made there were we kind of there for a period we shut everything down, and then we really got to even for book returns and that kind of thing. We kind of sent out notice. We said no in-person book returns. We were kind of just shutting down. Nobody on campus. So mail it in. When we mailed it in, we let it sit there for a period of time before we even open things up. So, just things like that. There's just a number of different things but those are the major things that we, had to shift and make changes in our operations.
And then moving into this semester when students came back, I know the university got a lot of things like hand sanitizer and stuff like that. Were you responsible for that, being procurement?
Yes, I was. So yeah, the director of procurement reports directly to me. So what we did, I mean, what we normally we're ordering products and computers and stuff like that across campus. That kind of just shut down. We still did some of that, but we shifted to procuring hand sanitizer, disinfecting wipes, mask, gloves, certain kind of cleaners, cleaners for we purchased what's called electrostatic sprayers that has disinfecting in it. So we just go through spaces now. We do this every morning even right now, we do. Every morning, we go through and clean every classroom and every common space restrooms. We do the spray and we disinfect. So we started doing that almost immediately, and we're still doing that today. And I think that really is one of the big factors that allows, I think, our numbers at the university really look pretty good. They're starting to kind of go up some now, but we kind of had a little spike there in July, August when people started coming back, and then it kind of settled back down. I think keeping these spaces disinfecting has been a big reason why we've been able to stay pretty good. So with students coming back, we started doing that, procuring all these things. We're still doing that. We kind of got a big stock up. We went through a little period there where we couldn't get anything. I mean, it was impossible to get hand sanitizer. No, I mean, you couldn't even get it. So I think it was probably maybe it was in June, might have been late May. We had one of the distilleries donate 55-gallon drum of hand sanitizer to us. And then we've recently gone back about a month ago, and they've given us 2 more. So we're in good shape on those kind of things. The disinfecting wipes have pretty much consistently been an issue to get. And so we're constantly working on, and the prices are up and down and up and down. And so we're trying to get on an even keel where we order them when we get good prices, get them in, stock up. And that's what we're doing right now for the spring, kind of getting ready for the spring. So we were able to we got federal grant money to help us purchase a lot of PPE, we call it, which is hand sanitizer, wipes, gloves, mask, and all that. We were able to get a Gator mask that we were able to give to every student. Should have gotten one. We kind of got to the point where we gave all the housing students. We went to organizations, and then we just put out emails, and we sat out there up by the bell tower in the quad and kind of just handed them out, and we gave a lot of. I still hear stories. Some people say they didn't get them, but we gave a lot of them out. So in those bags, those we called them PPE or health kits, had a little bottle of hand sanitizer, a thermometer, mask, gloves. We even had, like I said, we had the cloth Gator mask. Seems like I'm forgetting something, but that's the main things that were in them. And so we're working on, we're going to give those kits out to the housing students in the spring, not campus wide, but to the housing students we'll give. So, yeah, so that was a long-winded answer to a short question.
Oh no, that's fine. That was a lot of good information in there. Um, and when the university kind of put out its rules for um, what they were going to be for COVID when students came back this semester, kind of what did you think about those? And yeah, well, that kind of segued me into my next
What
question.
did I think about the rules?
Yes, sir.
Is that what you're saying, the rules? Well, I had a lot to do with it. I've been a part of kind of the team that's been making a lot of the decisions and rules, and it's a whole host of a lot of people, so it's not anything unilateral. But I think we did good. I mean, I think we're uh, first and foremost in the kind of the root of all the rules and requirements that we put out was the health of faculty, staff, and students. I mean, it was very clear from the president on down, and of course he has a lot of discussions with the board about what went on. That you know, if we can't make this thing happen safely, we just don't need to do it. And that's what the decision to close down and pivot to online was based on that. And then through the summer, you know, as we talked about it, we started gathering the data. We started, you know, some universities were just closing completely down. Some were continuing. Uh, Everything we looked at was it kind of lent itself to, well, if we do this, this, and this, we ought to be okay. And you know, we got to be careful. You know, we got to be cautious, and we got to you know, we got to be firm about wear a mask, keeping distance. We got to put up signs. That's something I didn't say. We put up signs. We moved, you know, we moved chairs out. We put in signs where you couldn't sit down, so you have to be distanced. Uh, Were it not for our ability to do that, we wouldn't have been able to open. So, but we went through that big process of all those changes that gave us some comfort in, well, let's, you know, let's do this. Let's get this semester back up, and really kind of from the very beginning, Dr. Morgan has been saying, you know, and putting in our mind, let's focus on the end goal, and let's get there safely. Let's do what it takes to get there safely. And November 24th was kind of drilled into our mind because we really wanted to get through this semester without having to shift to online. We were hearing from the students, from the student body. I mean, there was in my mind, there was a big outcry. Students wanted to come back to campus. So we wanted to really do our best to try to make that work. And here we are, Christian, we're 10 days away or less. I think I'm knocking on wood because we're not there yet, but we're very close, and I think we're going to make it. And I think all the actions we took and the rules we did set were effective. And so that's what we're kind of looking for next semester. You know, what do we do right? What do we do wrong? Let's try to refine it as best we can and make it even better for next semester.
And I think the relatively low number of cases on campus really speak to one, the effort that you and your department have put in, and then two, just kind of how good the rules were and how good the students have been at following them.
Yeah, I agree. And I say this to everybody I talk to. We don't tell, we've done as best we could, but we could have done that. And if the students would not have been compliant, it would have been of no effect. So we've got to give the students a huge amount of credit. I think our students have done great, and we're very proud of that. That is the reason, I think, why the numbers are low. We played a smaller part of that.
And how has COVID changed the way that you use technology?
Well, you know, um, big time. So I'll also say I'm teaching a class, so I'll come to that in a minute. So it's changing all of what I do, you know, there. But the meetings, I mean, that's the biggest change, probably the meetings. You know, we went for a long time, no face-to-face meetings. We still do a lot of these type meetings. We're having some face-to-face, but it's still probably 30% face-to-face. It's still 70%. We still, all these team meetings where we've been talking about these rules and stuff, all online. We didn't we didn't go face to face at all. We're sharing documents. You know, we're talking on the phone a lot. So that was a big change. And so from a staff and from an operational standpoint, that was probably the biggest thing. But from a faculty standpoint, because I teach a class, um, and by the way, this was the first class I've ever taught. I've been in higher ed and kind of a leader in higher ed at other universities and stuff too for 20 years, and I've never taught a class. I've done a little, you know, taught to students and that kind of thing, but never really taught a full semester class. And So this is, and I had agreed to teach this class long before COVID hit, and so didn't know what this was going to be like. But so I had to kind of get ready to teach it face to face, but also be ready to pivot to online. So I kind of learned. I kind of learned the technology, learned to use Blackboard. I didn't know really a thing about Blackboard much. We had Blackboard when I got my master's back at Murray State years ago, but it's way different now. So I had to learn about that, and then learning to communicate with students on Blackboard and via email and chat and that kind of stuff. And and uh, and to the level of giving assignments, you know, nothing given in paper, nothing. Actually, we did have our midterm, and I had the test set up, um, and my daughter had her baby at the day of our test, and so I wasn't able to. I had a GA administer the test, and we couldn't make it work. I was talking remotely, and he was here trying to make it work. So we actually had to give a paper exam. That was the only paper we done all semester because there was a glitch or some issue. But got the final coming up, and I think we're ready to give it online. So just major changes, and I think these changes are really in a way good because we're adapting to much less paper in the operations and in the academic uh, operations really too. So I think um, if you have these bad things happen in life, you can, if you look at it and you make things good come out of it, just like you said and what you all are doing. Um, then you turn those bad things into positive. So that's kind of what we tried to do.
And what do you feel like you've learned just from operating in a COVID environment? And do you think you'll carry any of that on past the pandemic?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think what we just talked about, the technologies that we've had to kind of adapt to, change. I think we will do. I think we will carry on with that. But to tell you the truth, I'm a people person, and so I really like having in-person meetings. I don't ever want to shift to where we just don't even see each other anymore, and I don't think we'll go there. I think where we can do online, I think it's good. I think where people can work from home as much as possible. My wife works in her job. She shifted to working online completely. She went in the office every day, and now she's completely online. So I think there'll be a shift in that, but to me, I think we want to still hang on to some personal aspect of things because I think relationships are really important. I think you have more opportunity to have relationships in person than just online. So that's one thing. I guess I think the reduction in paper I think has been good. I think we've needed to do that for a long time, and I think this is kind of forcing us to do that. I'm also the printing and document services is under me, and so we've been looking at that, and we're way down. We used to have a lot of cost associated with the copy machines. In fact, we were in contracts that were generated 4 or 5 years ago that rely upon a certain level of usage, and we're way below that. So in a way, we're kind of losing money because we're tied into a contract that's got us at a certain level. But fortunately, we're at the tail end of that, and we're going to be renewing that soon. And so we're going to renew that, and we're going to be able to reduce our operational costs with printing and stuff. So, man, I think it's going to have far-reaching effects. I think from kind of a medical standpoint, I think it's uh, I think it's making us all more aware of of cleanliness and sanitizing, how that's going to have a positive effect, COVID or not. I think we'll see what this flu season is bringing. I'm hearing more people are getting flu shots. I think wearing the mask and sanitizing things has got to reduce the amount of just normal traditional flu we get. And so I think there'll be some really, really positive things that come out of that, medically wise, health wise. Uh, I don't know that I don't like wearing these masks, but I wear it when I teach, and I wear it when I'm in my office by myself. I don't wear it, but I walk outside that office and everybody around wears the mask. So but I'll be glad when we kind of can get to where we don't have to wear them all the time. But if we did have to wear them all the time, I think it probably would be a good thing. I don't know. There's conflicting data on that. I think the verdict's still out on that, but I think wearing them certainly has some positive effects. So I think that's how it's going to change us.
And if you don't mind me asking, has COVID affected you or your family at all? Not necessarily just by someone being affected, any like second or third level effects?
Yeah. Um, let me let me think. Nobody in my family has been a positive, so very blessed there. I have not experienced a positive really in really even layers on down, cousins and stuff. I can't think of anybody that's had a positive. There's been a lot of situations that of quarantine, people having to be quarantined. But probably for me personally, the biggest thing was two situations when my son or my grandson was born, couldn't go up to the hospital. And that was tough. That was difficult. Uh, but as soon as we could, they brought him home. We got to go over there, and we've of course been very careful. We've been limiting the amount we go over there. We don't want to pass on it. I'm around. I wear the mask, and I'm really very conscientious about being social distance stuff. But I'm still around a lot of people here at the university, so I don't want to pass on something to my little guy, and to my daughter, who she everything's fine. She's recovering from the birth and doing well, and but she's actually a pharmacist, and she works for the VA Medical Center in Lexington. So she was able to be off because of COVID more, and work from home prior to having the baby. So that was kind of good. And her husband, my son-in-law, is doing is in his last year of residency at UK in med school. So we were really concerned. He's up there, and he's been around a lot of it, but he's never got a positive, or really never even had quarantine. He's been very protected, I guess, up there and everything he's had to do. So from a personal standpoint, my son is in pharmacy school at UK, so he's been up there kind of in the thick of it, and he's been around and had to quarantine and been around people, but he's never been a positive. Uh, so kind of personally, I guess that's how it affected me. And then also, my brother-in-law passed away, so we had a funeral uh, about 3 weeks ago. And so it was in Madisonville in Hopkins County, and so it was in an area. It was kind of a hot spot, so we kind of had to adjust how the funeral was. We didn't have an in-person in the funeral home funeral. It was just a graveside service where we could be outside, and everybody could kind of come, but be separate. So it that affected how we've been doing things. And my mother-in-law is still with us, and she's of course grieving over that. That's her son, and it's been difficult. She she doesn't have as many visitors as she probably normally would have. So it's just been things like that that really changed how we. And so it's been important for us to. She she doesn't do FaceTime. We can't do Face. She's down there in Madisonville, so we can't be there a lot with her. But my my sister's sister lives there, and so she's there a lot, and so we've had to adjust, and we're going to Madisonville a lot more, and just being with her because really because of COVID. So, and of course she's 82 years old, so we're really protecting her. And church wise, we've had to we went there for a long time. We just went all online and just kind of watching church online. Now we're going back and just staying distanced and wearing masks and stuff. So that was another personal kind of effect that it had on us. So it's changed. It's changed life all around. I mean, almost every aspect of life. So less going out to restaurants. We very seldom we go out to restaurants anymore. We'll go maybe pick things up and bring home, but we just don't go into restaurants much. I mean, I think there's a lot less risk now than there was, but there's still some risk of doing that. So anyway, I hope that answered that.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Oatman, thank you for your time. That was my last question.
Okay. All right. Good luck on it. And if there's a way I can look at the final, what you do, I'd like to look at that sometime. Sound good?